Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and I was just watching mermaids. Okay, so the truth behind the myth of mermaids. So, let's see. Let's watch. I mean, ooh, beautiful. I've always loved their tails. I think they looked really cool.
Mermaids, the truth behind the myth.
Oops.
One of the interesting things about legends is that they often seem almost believable. I mean, how can entirely different parts of the world describe seeing the exact same thing for centuries? Is it so ridiculous to ask, are mermaids real? Did or do these half-human, half-fish mythical sea creatures really exist?
I wish they
look
did.
like the red-haired beauty Disney introduced to the world in 1989? Or are they a little less glamorous? Believe it or not, scientists and historians have been interested in the mermaid's existence for years. In today's video, we're turning to their research to find out the truth. But before we dive into the legendary world of mermaids, be sure to click the subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that you'll always be the first to see all the newest updates coming out daily on the bright side of life. The Merriam-Webster dictionary describes the mermaid as a fabled marine creature with the head and upper body of a woman and the tail of a fish. It has a male counterpart, the merman, and both have made plenty of appearances in books, comics, cartoons, and movies. The most popular of which for our generation is, of course, Disney's lovely Ariel in The Little Mermaid. But this cartoon was an adaptation of a fairy tale written by Danish author Hans Christian Andersen in 1837. However, in Andersen's The Little Mermaid, we don't get a happily ever after ending, but a tragic one. Sorry to ruin your childhood. Anyway, going back to our current topic, The Little Mermaid isn't the first story that opened our eyes to the world of merfolk. The first mermaid, according to legends, is Antarctica, the ancient Syrian goddess of the sea. She didn't start out as a mermaid, though. She was once a powerful priestess who, like the Little Mermaid, fell in love with a human. But his mortal body couldn't handle her, divine powers in bed, and he died. She became pregnant with his baby, and she never could move on from the death of her beloved. After Antarctica gave birth to the child, she decided to drown herself in the ocean. But the gods took pity on her because of her exceptional beauty and turned her into a mermaid. To this day, she's revered as the goddess of fertility, protection, and well-being for those who worship her.
Oh, that's cool.
And then there's Ea, the Mesopotamian god of water, wisdom, magic, and creation. He was a merman. And what's his backstory? According to the legend, Ea saved humanity, which he'd created himself, from a flood sent by the god Enlil. Enlil wanted to destroy the people because their noisiness kept him from sleeping. Whoa, overreact much? This was told in the Babylonian myth called Atrahasis and the Epic of Gilgamesh. Like most legends, that of the mermaid spans across cultures. In Japanese folklore, there's the Ningyo, which is a giant fish with a human face and a monkey's mouth. If you can get over its monstrous appearance, it's believed that adding Ningyo to your diet will give you eternal youth and beauty. You'll just be cursed after consuming one is all, no big deal. In most parts of Africa, they have Mama Wata, which is derived from the English mommy water. If you're on her good side, she'll choose you as a medium for her special powers. If not, well, you'll be fed to the fishes. They've always got a catch, don't they? The female merrows of Ireland are beautiful with long green hair. The males, not so much. Merrows have to wear something called a Cohulian druith, which is a magical cap that helps them live underwater. In Russia, they have the Rusalka, a water nymph in Slavic mythology that's been portrayed as both good and evil. In the lighter version, the Rusalka mermaids were believed to be kind and help water the crops.
Oh, that's nice.
The darker side of the myth is that they were girls who died in cruel ways, and they dragged their victims to a watery death.
That's
In Norway and parts of Scotland, they have the Finnfolk, who were shapeshifters of the sea. They have an affinity for silver and tend to make humans their slaves. The
Oh.
Inuit also have a fair share of mermaid stories, particularly the tale of the Sedna. She's the guardian spirit of the Inuit and the mother of all sea mammals. The Caribbean islands and other parts of the Americas are home to a water spirit called La Cerne, derived from the French La Sirène, meaning the mermaid. And, on a related note, linguistically, we can't forget the sirens of Greek mythology. Beautiful on the outside and deadly on the inside, these famous mermaid-like creatures had a face-off with Odysseus and his crew in Homer's The Odyssey. Luckily, Odysseus and his men managed to come out with their lives by stuffing wax into their ears so they couldn't hear the seductive and hypnotic singing of the sirens. But mermaids aren't just a thing of ancient legends. The hype continues even today. Unconfirmed and probably false, sightings have been reported all over the world in the past years. In 2013, Animal Planet added fuel to the fire when they made a fictional documentary titled Mermaids, The Body Found, that racked up 3.6 million views. This only proves that people's fascination with these mythical sea creatures still hasn't wavered even in the 21st century. Animal Planet's stunt, although they were open and honest about the fact that it was all made up, isn't the first one. In 1842, P.T. Barnum created a fake mermaid by sewing together the head and torso of a monkey and the tail of a fish as part of his circus show. He called it the Fiji Mermaid and claimed that it had been caught near the Fiji Islands. Thousands of people fell for it, and it's still considered one of the greatest mermaid hoaxes of all time.
Today I've got an interview for my dream job as an Air New Zealand flight attendant.
That's rude.
Can you tell me what
Who
you
would
want to do
fake a mermaid?
Because no...
Unless they want to get rich. Or like, yeah, whatever.
One thing's for sure, no one has actually seen, met, or caught a real mermaid, alive or not. Even Christopher Columbus's mermaid sighting in 1493 was debunked by experts. He described what he saw as not so beautiful as they are said to be, for their faces have some masculine traits. So, what had Columbus really witnessed back then? Historians, folklorists, and scientists are convinced that it wasn't a mermaid. What Columbus actually spotted was a manatee. Yup, it was just a case of mistaken identity. Some older species, like the extinct Steller sea cow, were known to grow up to 33 feet long. However, today's manatee and its Indo-Pacific cousin, the dugong, only get to about 9 to 10 feet long. And here's a fun fact. Manatees and dugongs, which belong to the scientific class Sirenian, are closely related to elephants. Plus, they're the only marine mammals that are strictly herbivores. So, how on earth could Columbus make that big of a mistake? Well, from afar, manatees are about the size of a human. Their front flippers could resemble an arm from a distance, and their neck vertebrae allow them to turn their heads around like we do. Plus, their round heads and protruding nose and whiskers could be mistaken for a man, especially one with a mustache. And marine biologist Dr. James Powell, who has studied and observed manatees for over 30 years, totally agrees. According to him, with the right lighting and angle, a manatee's head does look like a person's. Plus, for lonely sailors deprived of human contact for so long, when they saw the flat, mermaid-like tail of manatees doing tail stands in the distance, they could easily take it for the mythical sea creature. To further solidify this theory, even the suspected mermaid skeleton discovered on the island of Mombasa and brought to Portsmouth to be investigated by the Philosophical Society was later found to be that of a dugong. The findings were published in the Magazine of Natural History in 1830. Now, let's consider the question of whether or not their unique body structure could even function. The short answer is that it's impossible. The human part of the mermaid wouldn't be able to withstand a life in the cold oceanic waters. That is, not unless mermaids have a thick layer of hair like sea otters, or blubber like other marine mammals. Evolutionarily speaking, humans and fish have branched out into two entirely different species. This means that a mermaid can't have the best of both worlds. Even reproducing would be more complicated. Do they give birth like humans or lay eggs like fish? How do they digest their food? A person's digestive system is nothing like that of a fish. Physiologically, merging the two just wouldn't work. But who knows? Maybe they really are out there and we just haven't found them yet. I mean, it's possible when you consider the fact that, according to the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, more than 80% of our ocean is unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored. But so far, the only evidence of mermaids points to a case of mistaken identity. They're nothing more than sea cows. For the time being, mermaids remain fictional characters and a favorite mythical subject to discuss.
I was watching
What about
another
you?
video and
Do
they
you
said like
believe mermaids
it's
could
probably
exist?
real.
Tell us in the comments. Don't forget to give this video a like and share it with your friends if you've enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe and join us on the bright side of life.
Okay, so we only have like, yeah, that's it. Yep, mermaids actually real? Or are they just like fake? Alright, oh yeah, I was watching that video. Yes, it's a very nice looking mermaid. Anyway, so hope you enjoyed. Comment down below if you think mermaids are real or mermaids are fake. So, please like and subscribe, and bye. Red out.